especially on this spacecraft. Probably the only time I'll be on this spacecraft, to be honest.
Yeah,
this is the Guardians of the Galaxy spacecraft. Yeah, it's nice.
That's what everybody's been saying. Like, where are we? What is this?
I don't really know what I'm talking about because I have not read a script. I haven't met even half of the people in this cast yet. I've done the majority of my screen time with my friend Anthony Mackie, who couldn't be here because he had to have one of those Cuban cigars. But that's okay, because the Winter Soldier's always kind of figuring out, what environment he's in. So
well, do
I'm
we
just
know?
letting it.
Bad guy, good guy. What do we know?
I think that's always up to question, and in a good way, to be honest, because the thing is that I actually haven't really thought about it, other than the fact that like every time you see him, he's in a very different place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's not really like a very like dangerous guy for the most part, but I feel like he's still got the hair and the look, and as long as he has this situation going, then I think he can look a little skeptical.
Got an edge.
Yeah.
But yet warm and fuzzy at the same time.
Very warm and fuzzy.
Very warm and fuzzy.
Got the beer now, it's good.
Okay, talk to me about the relationship and the chemistry, really, between the Winter Soldier and the Falcon.
To me, it's like Martin Brest's film classic Midnight Run. It really is just sort of like in my head, like 48 Hours or a buddy comedy from the 80s, or the 90s. That's how I see it.
Can we get a spinoff? Falcon, Winter Soldier.
We absolutely can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, the right people to make that happen are certainly within feet from us right now.
That's true. That's true. What about the relationship with Captain America, Steve Rogers, and the Winter Soldier? Where does that all stand right now?
I think that's in a good spot. Obviously.
We're all speculating.
No, look, it's tough, because it's interesting, actually, because in life, in a similar way, friendships develop and they change, and sometimes you can know someone for 15, 20 years, but people change, and sometimes they go on different paths. And those two guys have certainly known each other for a long time, and they have a lot still in common and a bond, but now they've each had a lot of separate life experiences. So while they do remain close, it's interesting to think about that they've actually become different people than how they started out. So how that affects their relationship is always going to be. This is as good as it gets. We are the last hope for humanity. You want to get deep?
Yeah, let's get deep.
The world is ending. I'm just kidding.
You are here to save
the world is ending in this film.
Yeah.
And, a couple of people have gotten together and are trying to save it.
Hey everybody, so I've been getting a lot of requests to do more Infinity War previews for the characters, so this is all about Winter Soldier, obviously, in his arc through to Phase 4. I do think that he has a good chance of becoming the new Captain America if Chris Evans leaves, and I'll explain. Based on some of the things he said during this interview, it sounds like their character arcs are pushing in that direction should they choose to go down that route. Like laying track for a lot of these smaller characters to become bigger characters if the movies during Phase 4 require that or have room for it. So if you're finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get all the Marvel videos. There's going to be crazy amounts of Infinity War and Deadpool dropping really soon. There's a new round of that Infinity Gauntlet giveaway going on. All you have to do to enter, just be a subscriber, leave a comment on the video. So the really big stuff first, let's just go down the list of things that he reveals in this. 1, he hasn't spent really any time on the Milano or the New Guardian ship. They're calling it the New Guardian ship and making it sound like they're the ones that actually bring this Q ship to planet Earth. But the articles that I was reading about that weren't super clear. Like, it's always a problem when you can tell that journalists aren't big comic book fans, so they just kind of report stuff without any context. Like, wait a minute, are you trying to tell me this isn't Thanos' ship? This belongs to the Guardians? So when he says that like 90% of the scenes that he's had so far have been with Falcon exclusively, it sounds like he only enters the film in a big way when Team Cap brings Vision to Wakanda, and that's when Falcon comes to Wakanda, so then he starts having scenes with Winter Soldier. Like when he jokes about Midnight Run, buddy road trip comedy, he's talking about a lot of the scenes that they had during Civil War, so there's a lot of that continuing through Infinity War, just like the two of them together with a little bit of comedy amidst all this crazy stuff that's going on.
Can you move your seat up? No.
Guys, look, I'd love to keep this up, but I've only got one job here today, and I gotta impress Mr. Stark, so I'm really sorry.
What?
You couldn't have done that earlier?
I hate you.
The really funny thing, though, is that when he jokes about, oh yeah, there are actually people standing off screen here that could greenlight that Falcon Winter Soldier spin-off movie, you wade deep enough into Phase 4, you could just call that Captain America 4 if Chris Evans either decides to leave or he never takes the mantle of Captain America back. The icing on that cake, too, is when he starts talking about the Captain America Winter Soldier relationship during the movie. He said, they've been through so much together, but they're completely different people at this point. So he's referring to the fact that Captain America is so jaded with the idea of America that he's taken the mantle down, like he's blacked out the star on his chest. He's basically the nomad character from the comics. Someone whose character and identity was defined by their country and then went to war with that. When he says that Bucky is a completely different character, he's basically saying that he's not the Winter Soldier anymore. He's not a tool of some foreign government. I've already done a video talking about how Shuri deprogrammed his mind, basically just took all the Hydra stuff out of his brain. Remember how the Black Panther movie kind of teased the concept of him becoming the next Captain America with his clothing? I'll link that video that I did for that at the end of this. Sebastian Stan actually specifically addresses the idea of becoming the next Captain America. So you see the strings that Kevin Feige is pulling in the background. They freed up the mantle of Captain America, and they put Winter Soldier on an arc that allows him to become that character should they choose to do that down the road. He also jokes about Robert Downey Jr. during the interview, saying that I don't think that we've seen him on set yet, making it sound like they don't spend a lot of time on screen together, which makes sense given the trailer scenes we've seen so far. Most of the Iron Man that we've seen so far is either at the Sanctum or at the battle on Titan against Thanos. But I think the idea is that everybody comes to Wakanda by the very end of the film. But because that's supposed to be like the entire third act of the film, it's not like everybody shows up right away at the beginning of this attack. So I think the idea is that they start out rolling into battle with just these characters that you see on screen here, but by the very end of the film, like before they hit their climax, any of the Avengers that survive that battle on Titan come back to help out. But again, I'll reiterate, I think that if anybody is going to be leaving or dying during these films, of the two characters, Captain America and Winter Soldier, Captain America is the more likely candidate. So let me know in the comments, what do you think is going to happen with Captain America and Winter Soldier during the next two Avengers films? And who is your pick for the next Captain America? Like, do you agree that Winter Soldier is the best candidate? It's just that of all the people that could potentially become the next Captain America, like pretty much him and Falcon, he has the much more compelling arc, taking the mantle to honor his potential fallen friend.
To buy hot dogs.
You blew $3 trying to win that stuffed bear for a redhead.
What was her name again?
Dolores. You called her Doc.
She's gotta be 100 years old right now.
So are we, pal.
What'll happen is because I wasn't expecting this to drop, is I'll name the new giveaway winner when I post new Marvel, which should be in the next day or two. Leave all your requests in the comments below. Click here for that video where he talks about becoming the next Captain America, and click here for the video where the directors confirm Captain Marvel for Infinity War. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.